Welcome to a brand new season of ice hockey here on Sky Sports. A brand new season? We thought deserved a brand new look, and that's exactly what you've got. But don't worry, you won't miss a thing. We'll have every highlight and every goal from every game in the Rapid Solicitors Elite Ice Hockey League. I'll also be visiting each and every team in the league at least once, so I'll be keeping an eye on you over the next 30 weeks. Well, we've got lots to get through this evening. Here's what's coming up. The Nottingham Panthers get off to a winning start against the Hull Stingrays. Panthers coach Corey Nielsen and David Clark, well, they take a kids training camp. And we've got all the other action from around the Elite League. Looks like the Coventry Blaze are up to no good, and I have a feeling we could be saying that quite a bit this season, folks. Week one, show one, I bring my old mucker back, Rick Strachan, the coach of the Nottingham Panthers. And Rick, summer's been busy, summer's been exciting. New players of a real high pedigree. Every single team in the league, I reckon, has upgraded. But the big talking point has been the structural change in the Elite League, in the conference system. Yeah,
the conference system is going to make it more interesting for all the teams. You're going to have to win the games in your conference, which are also local derbies. You know, for the North Division and the South Division, it's going to make it more interesting for the fans.
Just in case you think you've missed something, as the league changed, it hasn't really. Still 10 teams, but those 10 teams have been split into, as Rick called them, North and South, as I'll call them, Gardner and Erhart. Here are the two conferences. Braehead, Edinburgh, Fife, Hull and Dundee in the Gardner. Sheffield, Cardiff, Coventry, Belfast and Nottingham in the Erhart. I'll give you all a little bit of a history lesson in a few moments' time, but the reality is you play every team in your own conference 4 home times, 4 away, and in the other conference twice home, twice away. So you'll play Sheffield 4 times at the NIC, 4 times at the Motorpoint. You'll go up to Kirkcaldy and play the Flyers twice. And I think that's what the fans want, isn't it? More local derbies, more games against teams in their own kind of group, and that's going to breed excitement.
Yeah, it definitely is. You know, you're going to, Nottingham fans are going to travel to, to Sheffield, and Sheffield vice versa to Nottingham, and then you got the Fife fans and the Edinburgh fans who've got a great local derby there that they're going to enjoy more often.
Well, the reason it's called Gardner is that up north, Edinburgh-born goalie Charlie Gardner, he actually played for the Chicago Blackhawks. He was a netminder who won 2 Vezina trophies in the NHL. He also captained the Blackhawks in 1934 to their Stanley Cup success, the first goalie ever to do that. That's why the Northern Conference is called the Gardner. The Erhart Conference is called that. He was a member, in fact he was the captain of the European and World Championship British team, and also a member of the 36 Olympic gold medal team as well. So that's your reason for the 2 conference names. I'm looking forward to that because I think it means every night it's going to be a battle in whichever rink you go in.
Yeah, it's important for you to win your division games, but also if you want to have aspirations to win the league title, you're going to have to go into the other division and win as well. OK, shall we get some hockey action underway? Let's start off with Strax's team, the Nottingham Panthers. They were up in Hull last Saturday. Strax was at the front of the bus. He knows his way to Hull, doesn't he? Chris Ellis will talk you through this one.
Standalone Challenge Cup action here. Watch carefully. 2 referees. It's a 4-man system in standalone Challenge Cup games this season. David Clark with the game's first best chance there. Ben Bounds making a very good save. The referees on this occasion, Dean Smith and James Kavanagh. Now, Thomas Vallejo was to play a big part in this game. Had a chance there, right-hand side, then tried to drive down the puck and get things going again for Hull. But it broke nicely for Pat Gallivan, the new Nottingham number 9. Great feed at the back door to Matt Francis. Such a find for Nottingham last season. And at 9:03, the only goal of the first period, and Nottingham were 1-0 ahead. The Stingrays thought they'd levelled. Player coach Sylvain Cloutier down on his knees, but no. Man in the crease. I think just a bit of his skate was in the crease, so it stayed at 1-0. Bruce Graham there, the big winger for Nottingham. That's 2-0. 62 points in the CHL last season. He gets Nottingham's second goal of the night, and they lead by 2-0. Vallejo, I said he played a big part in the game. The Edinburgh player from last season scored 8 for the Caps last season, scoring a lovely goal there. Watch this move from Silverthorne on Gadavan. Sells him the dummy, and it's 2-2. In under 2 minutes, the Stingrays come from 2-0 down to tie it at 2-2 in the second session. Nottingham coming forward here with Matthew Myers and Bruce Graham into the offensive zone. Another shot for Ben Bounds to deal with, one of 44. And Sylvain Cloutier, the Stingrays player coach, singing his praises after the game. But as the game drew towards a close, Nottingham grew in the ascendancy. David Ling, great skate there. Rebound for Matt Francis to score his second at 57-37. And then Nottingham break away with Lakovic. Great weighted pass to Gadavan. He scored at 58-24. Final score in the Challenge Cup. Hull Stingrays 2, the Nottingham Panthers 4.
That was perhaps a little closer and a little tighter than maybe you all thought when you were driving up on the bus, Rick.
No, we knew it was going to be a tough game. You know, Hull's done a great job of putting together a new team. First game, they're at home. They came out, they're ready to play. Yeah, we jumped out to 2-0, and maybe we started to coast a little bit, but they brought it back 2-all, and we battled hard to to get those the extra points by scoring late in the game. One
of the big changes with the team that Sylvain Cloutier put together in Hull was bringing in Ben Bounds. Meant he could have his 11 out skating imports. Bounds is going to be under a lot of pressure this year. He faced 44 shots with you. What was your first impressions on him?
I thought he was an outstanding goalie. Everybody I've talked to said that he was a very good goalie. You know, could he step up and play in the higher league? And what I saw on the last game is that he can definitely play the game.
The Stingrays brought Oslins up as well from the Sheffield Steel Dogs in the EPL. He's a talent, isn't he? He can score.
Very, very talented, very shifty, very quick, not afraid to go into the dirty areas, and he's going to help them.
And what was the first view of your own team? You can see them all day long, can't you, in pre-season training, but not till you get into a proper game situation do you really learn about your team. You're still a couple of guys short, but how have your new guys settled in?
I think they all bring something a little different. You know, some are fast and some are skilled, some are big, some are tough. So, you know, we're happy with what we got right now, and you know, we're just going to try to get better every week.
Okay, one other game that was played on Saturday saw the league champions, the Belfast Giants. They travelled to Scotland to take on the Braehead Clan. It was a Clan side without Jade Galbraith and Ryan Campbell. They're short-handed against the league champions. I'm sure Doug Christensen was licking his lips. We'll take a look at our new gadget here we've got behind us, Strachan, and take a look at this game, and it was an early start for Braehead. They raced ahead to a 2-goal lead. Goldie and Farmer all before the 5-minute mark.
Yeah, I think, you know, Belfast just showed up at the rink not ready to play, and the Braehead Clan are a very strong team at home. Big crowd. It's getting bigger and bigger there, and all of a sudden, you know, Belfast is, you know, behind the 8 ball right off the bat.
They did get back into it. Rycroft, their new signing in the second period. Bringing it back to 2-1. A lot on his shoulders. He's going to score a couple in this game, but I think Belfast look as offensive as ever. But defensively, it's a completely new look back end for the Giants, isn't it?
It is. You know, they've brought back Sandrock, who's been there before. You know, solid defenseman. But you know, they've lost all those American League defensemen that they had for many years, and they got some new guys there, and who are going to have to prove themselves.
It was Adam Walker, wasn't it, who made it 3-1. Rycroft was going to get his second just 7 minutes before the final hooter went. The final score there of the Braehead Clan, beating the Belfast Giants by 3-2. And let's be honest, I think that was a little bit of a surprise, wasn't it?
Yeah, you would say that you know, the Belfast Giants should go into Braehead and win the game with the team they had, but you can't. Anybody can beat anybody. The Braehead Clan are very strong at home. They put together a great hockey team, and if you underestimate your opponents, you are going to lose.
Let's talk Braehead a second. Goaltending, they've brought the Five Flyers goalie Zemlak in. A lot expected of him. He had a great year last year, but facing 50-odd shots a night. They've also lost their whole back end, haven't they? Bannister, the coach, and Wedderburn, who I particularly liked. They've had to rebuild at the back there. That's going to be tough for them to kind of gel straight away.
Yeah, well, you know, they lost 3 quality defensemen, and you know, hopefully Kristanovich has done a good job of replacing them, and it's pretty tough to replace Bannister and Wedderburn, who are outstanding defensemen. So, you know, they got one more guy to go, I think. The 3 guys they brought in, well, obviously they kept the Giants to 2 goals, so they're doing their jobs.
We're going to talk about this word a lot this year, depth, and how important then was that signing of Robert Farmer, who left Coventry to go to Kazakhstan, never worked out in pre-season for him. He's come back to Braehead. How important is he going to be to the Clan?
Well, anytime you can add a quality hockey player to your club, it makes you that little bit stronger, especially times late in the season when you get injuries. Robert Farmer can step up. He can play on any line. He's a good skater. You know, he's physical. You know, he's going to be a huge help to them.
And just briefly on the Belfast Giants defence, they've lost probably 1,000 American League games, and they've signed some less experienced players, with the exception of Sandrop maybe.
Yeah, you know, time will tell. They've always had those great American League defensemen, and they've signed some guys with not much experience, so time will tell.
Time will tell indeed. Well, that's Nottingham out of the way and Belfast out of the way. How are the Sheffield Steelers going to get on against the Cardiff Devils? We'll tell you after the break. Don't go anywhere. Welcome back to the Rapid Solicitors Elite Ice Hockey League Highlights Show here on Sky Sports. Plenty more action still to come, but before that, a nice little feature. Every summer, one of Rick's players, David Clark, heads back to his hometown of Peterborough to take a summer training camp. Young, promising ice hockey players who want to know how it is and how they become professional. Well, this year, he took along his head coach, Corey Nelson, and the Sheffield Steelers captain, Jonathan Phillips, and this is how they got on.
Nottingham Panthers forward and GB international David Clark launched his first hockey clinic back in 2009, and last year he started a clinic for professional players. Instructors include Corey Nielsen and Jonathan Phillips, and the aim of the clinic is to smooth the transition from raw talent to professional player.
We're working with a group of up-and-coming top-end talent in Britain, and we've been working with them for the last 4 or 5 days and helping get their game up to top speed. We work predominantly with their fundamentals, get their skating up to speed, shooting, passing, and obviously their game awareness. This week is a lot higher tempo. We've got kids which are on the verge of possibly making pro teams, some which are actually currently skating with pro teams, and it's just getting them ready for that next step. It is a big step to make, especially going through the junior system in Britain. And I think, as the likes of the coaching staff we have here, myself and Corey Nelson and people being here just to advise them, help them, develop them, and get them ready to be in that environment.
For British ice hockey, it's extremely important. I mean, the kids need to be pushed and developed. There seems to be a big gap between the top end players and the middle range, weaker players. So we need to find places to push those top end players to excel and to get better, so they can compete at the pro level.
They're very important. It's so tough to get ice time. Back at your clubs, you might just get on, an hour or two twice a week. So anytime in the school holidays, there's these camps available, and the kids can come out for a week and kind of go through what a professional hockey player goes through throughout the season with the gym sessions and just being together as a team and on the ice, and all the nutritional facts is I think is huge, and hopefully it can benefit some players who really want to step up and make that next jump.
15-year-old Peterborough player Lewis Hock hopes that the clinic will give him some valuable tips on the road to playing professionally.
Me coming here, hopefully, this is what I want to do. I want to be like the coaches here and be professional. This is what they do as a day job, professional ice hockey. And this is what all of us are here for. Gain all the little things, like you go to club hockey and if you're at the best at your club hockey and you just skate around, but here it's all about being professional. You don't just learn on ice, you learn off ice professionally. Like we're just doing fitness work now. You learn all the little skills that you don't get from anywhere else. The highlight of my clinic has been really spending the whole week with the coaches, them giving us feedback of what we've done, positive and wrong. They're just helping us get into the right stage. And really, yeah, the feedback's been the highlight of the week, just because that's helping us so much.
Well, if you want to learn how to be a professional ice hockey player, Rick, I would have thought you can look at nobody more than David Clark. I mean, there's a guy who is a professional from the moment he gets up in the morning till the moment he goes back to bed.
Yeah, David is just giving something back to the kids that he's learned through his years of becoming a professional, and you know, he's done a great job of, you know, getting these kids ready and teaching them exactly what it takes to become a professional. Because it's not just about the skating, the passing, the shooting, it's about the lifestyle change, and these guys commit, don't they, the training, the work they have to do in the gym. It's not a 30-week season, it's a 52-week season for them. Yeah, once the season starts or ends, it's a new season. It's all about getting bigger, faster, stronger. And how do you do that? What do you eat? How do you take care of yourself? And these kids got to be taught how to learn this. Okay, well, good luck to all of those kids. We hope to see you in the Elite Ice Hockey League very, very shortly. Maybe one day you'll be one of the big signings announced by one of the 10 Elite League clubs. Rick and I touched on earlier the changes in the league. Lots of new faces, but there's lots of big signings and lots of new signings. And Strax, here's my top 5 signings. I reckon in number 5, the re-signing of Shea Guthrie of the Coventry Blaze. They had to re-sign Guthrie. He was their only hope from last season. 4, Phil O'Sea. The Stevie Lyle era is over. O'Sea is back in Cardiff. He has to backstop them to success. My 3rd big signing was Steve Gortson. There's loads of NHL and American League signings came over this year. Gortson is going to help the Sheffield Steelers 100%, no question. 2nd place, David Link. Every club chased him. Nottingham Panthers signed him. And my biggest signing, it was one the Braehead clan just had to make. They had to bring Jade Galbraith back. Let's just take those one by one, if you like. We'll start off with Shea Guthrie. Lots of changes with the Coventry Blaze, but if Coventry were going to tell their fans that they're for real, Guthrie had to resign, and they got him. Well, he was their best player last year. He's fast, he's exciting, he put up numbers, he's a great guy. And if you're going to build a club around somebody, Shea Guthrie was your guy. If you're going to win a championship, you need top quality goaltending. And Phil O'Sea will give the Cardiff Devils top quality goaltending. The Lyle era is over. He's been a great servant, but what a signing for the Devils to bring in. Yeah, he's an outstanding goalie. He's big. He covers his angles, and like you said, if you want to win a championship, you've got to have great goaltending, and they got a great goalie. You've signed a couple of ex-NHLers in Nottingham. Belfast have done the same. Coventry have done the same. Everybody seems to be signing them. Gertson in Sheffield, a guy who's played almost 100 games at the top level of hockey. He's got to help them, hasn't he? Well, yeah, his resume says he's going to help them. He's a big, strong guy, up and down winger. He's going to finish his checks. He knows how to play the game. He played in the NHL for a reason, because he's a quality hockey player, and that's what everybody wants. Sheffield went and scouted him, folks. Belfast tried to sign him. Coventry tried to sign him. Braehead tried to sign him. Your mucker, Corey Nielsen, did sign David Ling. Everybody says he's going to be an outstanding player. What makes him so good? Vision. He's old school, gritty. He's not afraid to go in the corners. For a goal scorer, he'll fight. He'll slash you. You know, you can tell he's a hockey player. He's got no teeth. He comes to the rink every day. He's a proper player. He loves to play the game, and you know, he's got all the skill in the world. For the Braehead clan, they had to re-sign Galbraith, didn't they? A lot of the bigger clubs went after Galbraith, but if Braehead are going to show their fans, show the city of Glasgow, show Scotland, show Britain that they're one of the big players in the league, they have to keep their best players. Neil Black and Jordan Krstanovich just did that. How important was the Galbraith signing for them? It's important for him. You know, he was the most valuable player in the league last year, and you got to show your fans that you're committed to winning. By re-signing him, they showed the Braehead clan fans that they are committed to winning. They're going to be the big boys. You know, the fan base there is growing every week, and he's going to be a huge help to them. He's a star, and I'm sure we'll have him sat here at one point during the season. Well, we've already seen the Nottingham Panthers, we've seen the Belfast Giants. What about the Sheffield Steelers? They started with a home and away weekend against the Cardiff Devils. Didn't all go to plan, though.
There's been some thrilling games between Sheffield and Cardiff over the years, not more so, of course, than 2 years ago, when the two of them were battling it out for the league title. But to the present day, and giveaway in the Steelers' defence, and combining together a Chris Blight and Mac Faulkner, and welcome back Max Bierbrayer. Injured, didn't he? That neck injury at the end of last season. It's a great welcome back to him, and at 7:03, he gives the visitors the lead. It is 1-0 Cardiff Devils, and that was the way it was in the first period. So to the second period, and it is a power play situation for the home side. They need to get things going, and they do so down the right-hand side. They have plenty of movement, rotation of the puck from point to point, and it's a new boy who's going to get in on the act to score the first goal for the home side of the night. Just great movement behind the net, patient movement, and from the left-hand side, in the left circle, it is Drew Fatter. The assist going to Pekka and Limbright. 9 new boys in the Sheffield Steelers side, and 3 of them combined. Pekka, Limbright and Drew Fatter, who I think is going to be a top player in the league this season. He scores at 24-44 for a 1-1 hockey game. Still in the second period, and the momentum swung the Steelers' way. Chasing down in the corner, and the final touch from in front of the net is from Lee Esders, and we suddenly have a 2-1 hockey game to the Sheffield Steelers, and that's the way it was in the second intermission. So going into the third period, it was a 2-1 hockey game in favour of the Sheffield Steelers, and the Cardiff Devils, well, they really had a lot of work to do if they wanted to get back into the game, and they did. Faulkner and Blight combining again to set up Phil Hill for his now traditional celebration at 47-28. We're tied at 2, and we're going into the final 10 minutes of the game. Great build-up play by the Cardiff Devils, and they took the lead in the third session, and it was a lead they were to never ever give up. Again, it's great play by them. This time the setup is by Devon Didiomiti. Lovely feed across, and there was Stuart McRae. Left-hand side, a pass across net. That is a perfect pass. A man who's renowned for his fighting, he's renowned for talking on Twitter, but that's a pass and a half. With time running out, the Sheffield Steelers, well, they're forced into a turnover. Logui gives the puck away, and breaking down the ice, McKenzie and Hill involved, and Ben Davies heavily involved really from the start of this move, and I think that is one that will be wanted back by John De Caro. Watch this one, it goes in off his pad, and the Devils skate to the win. Sheffield 2, Cardiff 4.
Congratulations to Jared Adams and his team. An excellent performance on the road on Saturday against the Sheffield Steelers. And I know Chris there was just talking about 9 new faces in Sheffield, but Cardiff have got a lot of new faces as well. And Bright and Faulkner, they certainly impressed. And that line with Babir is going to be one of the top lines in the country. Yeah,
you see where they pass the puck around. They already know where they're, where they're going to be. That's going to be one great hockey line. They can all shoot the puck as well and pass it. And how good was it to see Devon Didiomati actually do his talking on the ice rather than on Twitter and everywhere else, because that pass he made to McRae, we're going to see that goal again. That was the pass of the night and a super finish from McRae. How important was it that the Devils brought their captain back as we watch that goal again now? Well, I liked the way he plays McRae. Last year I thought he was one of the better hockey players in the league. He can do it all. He kills penalties, plays on the power play, and he can finish. Let's see it again then. Here's Didiomati. He's going to pick up on this pass left-hand side. Well, first of all, this is a great cross-ice pass. It's almost intercepted and catches the defenseman flat-footed. And then he just comes down and he finds McRae, who takes it on, pulls it around his body and makes a great shot right across himself. And, the goalie thought there's no way he could go back across his body, and he did. Yeah, McRae does a bit of everything, does he? And he plays in all ends of the rink, and he can play in the small rink in Cardiff, and he can play on the big ice in Sheffield, in Belfast, in Nottingham. He's one of those key players in the league. He's a great skater. He's a big guy. He's tall. He's a good center. He skates. He reads the game very well. And it doesn't matter what kind of rink he plays in. He plays the same way every night. Sheffield would have expected to beat the Cardiff Devils on their home opener, though, wouldn't they? And it wasn't the performance or the result that Ryan Finnerty would have been looking for. And you know what it's like. Those bigger clubs, the pressure is on right from game one, isn't it? Yeah, I think there's pressure for every club to win their home opener. I don't care if you're a little club or a big club. You want to go out, you want to impress your fans, and you want to get the job done. And for whatever reason, the Sheffield Steelers came out just a little bit flat. And that goal, the little weak one, the goalie wanted back. It's a fluke. It happens once in a while, but it happened on opening night, and there's nothing you can do about it. The Sheffield Steelers took your old captain in the summer, Danny Myers. He's going to be an asset to them, isn't he? Yeah, he's a great hockey player, and he did a great job for the Nottingham Panthers, and I'm sure he's going to do a great job for the Sheffield Steelers. Right, plenty more action to come after the break. We'll go north and south as we see all the goals from around the Rapid Solicitors Elite Ice Hockey League. Don't go anywhere, there's some great goals coming up your way.
Welcome back to the Rapid Solicitors Elite Ice Hockey League Highlights Show here on Sky Sports. Shall we jump straight back into the action? I think so. We've got a Scottish derby to look forward to, the first of many between the Five Flyers and the Edinburgh Capitals. But before that, Paul Thompson took the Coventry Blaze on an 8-hour bus trip to the Dundee Stars. And remember, Dundee have a new coach, Jeff Hutchins.
Both sides went into this first regular season game short of players, and it was Dundee who coped the better to start with. Wraparound goal there for 24-year-old Matt Baxter, who played last year in the CHL. Only goal that was of the first period, and into the second, and it was 2-0. Pat Bowen from the blue line, 31-37, the Stars in control. We've got 7.5 minutes to go. Now, Coventry, of course, without Brad Leib, he was suspended, and it was his brother Greg who got them back into the game. First of all, it was Guthrie who did the hard work, and there was Greg Leib to pull the deficit back to 1. So, power play time now for the visitors, and they needed something quite quickly. And less than 2 minutes later, lovely shot from right side from Mike Egner. It's 2-2. So to the penalty shootout. Justin Cameron, he goes wide, so we're going to sudden death. At the other end, Baxter, he can't score. So Guthrie has a chance to get onto the target and give Coventry the advantage. No, he can't on the backhand. So is it Ryan's turn? He can win it if he scores here. The former Panthers man, no, he can't. So Mike Shute for Coventry. He scores in off the bar. So Worrell has to score at the other end. No, he can't, and Coventry come from behind and win this one. After the shootout, Dundee 2, the Coventry Blaze 3. A grudge match, a local derby to start competitive action for these two. The previous weekend, Fife won the Autumn Cup and beat Edinburgh on the way to that one. And they were ahead in the first period. Good work from Casey Haynes and Jason Pitton. And the finish there from defenceman Derek Keller. Spent 2 years in the East Coast with South Carolina and gave the home side the lead very early on in this one at 1:34. That's the way the game stayed until the final period. Would you believe the shots on goal? Well, they kind of tell the story of the game. 40 for Fife and only 16 for Edinburgh. Now, Danny Stewart in the closing stages. He is hauled down. Referee Johnny Lipdrop gives that penalty shot. The four-man system. One of two referees, Lipdrop and Kieran O'Halloran, in action in this one. And you see him point to the fact it's going to be a penalty shot. The arms raised above the head. So Danny Stewart, the former Coventry man, has a chance, and former Newcastle man, and he scores to make it a 2-0 victory. And a shutout as well for netminder Brian Pitton, a 16-shot shutout. Final score, Fife 2, Edinburgh 0.
The Five Flyers shut out the Edinburgh Capitals. Pitton gets a shutout on his debut, and he's got big shoes to fill, hasn't he, replacing Zemlak, who's moved to the Braehead clan. But a great start for the Flyers, and you know, they had such a horrendous start last year. Getting on the board early was always going to be important for them.
Yeah, they've got a year under their belt. They got a lot of young players who last year gained some valuable experience, and that's going to win them a lot of hockey games this year. They developed those kids last year, and now it's going to pay dividends for them. We
touched on Jeff Hutchins taking over the coaching reins in Dundee, a summer signing that perhaps they didn't expect. They expected their old coach to stay with them, but he's made a lot of new changes there. They look a lot stronger, a bit deeper as well. They've picked up a lot of British lads, especially young Watkins from Hull.
Yeah, they did a great job of recruiting some British talent. They got Watkins and Sam McCluskey and Harper's back there. So they did a great job of recruiting some British players. And you know, we played them this last weekend. They're still missing 3 imports, and when they get all their guys in, they're going to be very strong.
Chris mentioned in the highlights then that Coventry were missing Brad Leib. He's back for them now. They're still missing Danton. They still haven't cleared up this whole visa situation with him. They were always going to be short at the start of the year, whatever happened, because that was the way that Paul Thompson had recruited. But to lose Domi 6 to 8 weeks and Russ Cowley 4 to 6 weeks, that really has hurt them, hasn't it?
Yeah, going into your first weekend, you know, with Domichel, Cowley out, Danton not here, and Leib suspended. So you're missing 4 quality hockey players, and it's going to make it tough on them. You know, hopefully those guys can come back soon, but it's a vicious cycle. You know, you start overplaying guys, and then all of a sudden it snowballs into more injuries. So hopefully they can get some guys back, or they're going to have some young kids step up to the plate.
They will indeed. Time for more action now. We'll head over to the Skydome Arena, where the Coventry Blaze were taking on the Five Flyers. We'll then head over to the NIC in Nottingham, where the Panthers were taking on the Dundee Stars.
It's been a difficult couple of years for the Coventry Blaze, but optimism for the new season is high in the Skydome. And in the first session against the Flyers, neat finish here from Shea Guthrie. Steps out from behind the net, good move in front of the netminder, and the man that got 33 goals last season scores the first of the night at 7:05 on a delayed penalty call. Now, Paul Thompson wants to turn the Skydome into a fortress. Not really been that way for the last couple of years, but early signs are good that this side will dominate on home ice. Certainly dominating here on the power play. Scrappy goal, but they won't care. Ben Olsen getting to that rebound. 2-0 then at 10:54. The Five Flyers, though, were led on a comeback by their player coach Todd Dutium. Down the left-hand side, past a couple of challenges. Look how strong they are on the boards. Dutium combining with Dolam, very strong, the two of them. And the puck makes its way to Danny Stewart, who finds a way through, does the veteran. So at 13:53, it's a one-goal game. Going into the second session, 100 seconds in, giveaway by young James Griffin, and the Five Flyers managed to work this one around patiently, and Chris Wan scores, and we're tied at 2-2, and suddenly the visitors are back in the game. But Brad Lieb, suspended of course for 3 games after a sucker punch where he was to play a major part in this game. Once more, strong work by the home side. Into the offensive zone comes Judys, and on the rebound is Brad Lieb, his first of the night at 24-16. So that's the way the scoring remained until the third period, and the Five Flyers are on a late power play, moving it around quite nicely once more. And the shot comes in from left side, and Jeff Kleister looks to have taken the game to overtime. 57-43, it's a 3-3 hockey game, but no, look, 58 seconds later, Lieb's second of the night to break 5 hearts. Final score, Coventry 4, Flyers 3. A crowd of over 4,000 to see Panthers' opening home league fixture of the season, and they were having some possession in the early stages. But Dundee, who got a very creditable point against Coventry on the opening day of the season, went into the lead. Giveaway there from Mark Levers and former Panthers forward Sammy Ryanen, who missed 2 in the shootout against Coventry, gave the Stars the lead on that breakaway there, with the time on the clock 5:13. Nottingham needed a response, and guess who? David Clark there, putting away his own rebound, scored 39 goals for the Panthers last season and was underway this season in the NIC against the Stars. One man who's going to be a star this season is former NHLer David Ling. Comes out from behind, unchallenged. He played 93 games in the NHL and a quality finish there. If you think that was good, you wait till you see the next one. Jonathan Weaver started this move off for the Panthers. It was finished off by Matthew Myers. So that was 3-1 at 28-32. Now, I told you to look out for the next goal from David Ling. Coming forward, the Panthers with their captain, Jordan Fox, on the backhand, and Ling steps in, beats one man, patient beats another. Lovely finish. That's 4-1 Nottingham, and the scoring is certainly going their way, and they look to have this game in the bag. Of course, Nottingham were without Brandon Benedict and Martin Tuma, who's injured. Benedict, by the way, still to come into the country, just some visa issues. And Dundee as well, they're still waiting for Doug Krantz and Billy Bagran. Bagran, 30 years old, and he's tipped for great things this season in the Elite League. So Nottingham 4-1 up at this stage, moving it around really nicely. And you see David Clark here on the right-hand side. He's patient, and that one goes towards the net. Then it's picked up by Matthew Myers. Now it is Graham on the right-hand side, goes towards the net. Clark gets the final touch to get his second of the night. Nottingham, in the end, run out convincing winners. Panthers 5, Dundee 1.
2 great games and two good results, certainly for Nottingham and the Coventry Blaze. We'll start off with your team, Rick. We've spoken about David Ling. He took that second goal very nicely, didn't he?
It's just great patience. He took what they gave him. He didn't make anything happen. He just reads very well. He waited and waited, walked into the slot and buried it.
So early days at the moment. I spoke to Paul Thompson about Dundee. He felt they were very much improved and Hutchins had done a good job. What were your early thoughts on them?
I thought they were much improved from last year. They they got a good skating club. Their goalie's decent. Their D move the puck very well. You know, they've done some good recruiting, and you know, with the 3 players that they need to join the club, they're going to make them very, very strong in that division. The
Coventry Blaze, I said it the other day, had been on a 2-year sabbatical. We hadn't really seen the Blaze of old, that feistiness, that aggression. The Skydome used to be the toughest place, didn't it, to go into? It'd been a bit of a child's playground over the last couple of years. It's not going to be that this year. The way that Thompson has recruited, Olsen, you know, especially Egner, they're going to be very, very tough to beat in that building, aren't they?
Oh, big, strong, tough guys, and Paul Thompson will have them playing in your face, very physical, very intense, and when you go into the Skydome this year, you're going to have to be ready. You're going to have to be mentally and physically prepared to play.
Well, Coventry were a goal up going into the last couple of minutes. What an exciting conclusion to this game. Let's take a look at it. Fife getting back on the boards and a nice finish here.
Yeah, just on the power play, and right here, this guy is right here, nice quick little move, and he's got the screen there, just throws it on net. The goalie, you know, can't see it, goes in the net. Just a great play.
The Fife Flyers must have thought that they were going home with at least a point, and then Brad Lee, but I guess this is what experience buys you.
Yeah, right there, that's what you know, goal scorers do. Right there off the backboards, he just turns, and for some reason those guys who are goal scorers, they shoot the puck and it goes in the net. It didn't look like he had any room, but he found it.
He did indeed. Lots more to come. We'll wrap up on all the week action after the break. Don't go anywhere, plenty more goals still coming your way. Welcome back to the Rapid Solicitors Elite Ice Hockey League Highlights Show here on Sky Sports. Still some action to come. Sheffield's trip to Cardiff as Ryan Finnity's side took on the Devils. Before that, a little bit of time for Rick and I to chat over another game that took place up in Scotland between the Edinburgh Capitals and the Braehead Clan. Rick, we'll see the score and the scorers on our screen now, and it was a victory for the Edinburgh Capitals, and everybody thought Braehead would run away, if you like, with this Scottish division, this Gardner division. Challenge Cup game here, but the Caps getting an early advantage, an early victory over the Clan. Did that surprise you?
Yeah, it certainly did. I thought the Braehead Clan had too much depth, but you look at the Edinburgh Capitals, and Jarl in again, scores 2, overtime winner. You know, I think he scored over 40 last year, and if they can get some secondary scoring out of some other guys there, you know, the Edinburgh Capitals will make a run for it. You know, they'll finish high in the table.
I spoke to Scott Neal several times during the summer, and he says we're going under the radar. Everybody's got us booked in for bottom place, last place, but he actually thinks that his team can make a run at that second position. I think everybody kind of thinks that Braehead will run away with the division, will run away with the conference, but he's confident he can compete with the likes of Dundee, Fife, and the whole Stingrays.
Yeah, I think everybody in that division thinks that you know, Braehead has the head start for one, and then it's a gigantic battle. You know, we got 4 teams thinking they can all finish second in that division, which is going to make it great and exciting.
I was going to say, isn't that what it's all about, though? That everybody has hope. I mean, that's what's been spoke about this whole conference system. That coming into the season, every team has got something to play for, and when the Edinburgh Capitals are saying we think we can finish second, that shows that already the conference system is a success.
Yeah, it is, and in that division they got, you know, everybody thinking they can finish first or second, and in the other division everyone going, well, throw a dart in the board, who's going to win that division, who's going to finish first, second, third, fourth, or fifth? No one knows.
Let's talk about Sheffield and Cardiff. Cardiff beat Sheffield at the Motorpoint Arena on Saturday. And I know, speaking to Ryan Finnerty, he was telling me that actually travelling down to Cardiff for just the second game of the year, on the first weekend of the year, he felt it was like a Game 7 already, a really important game. Got to get that first win, got to get the 2 points on the board. Can you relate to that as a coach, that importance, even though it sounds ridiculous first weekend, that game took on such an importance in Cardiff?
It is. First of all, it's a division game. You got to win your division games if you want to have a chance of winning your division. Even though it's week 1, you got a back-to-back. You don't want to get swept.
Yeah.
You don't want to get swept at any time of the year. If you want to have a chance to be a successful hockey clubs, you can't go back-to-back losses. And they you know, huge game for them in Cardiff.
Well, Big Blue Tent, it was absolutely packed. It was absolutely heaving. It was so hot in there. Cardiff, well, they smelt success. Let's see if the Sheffield Steelers could overturn that Devils win from the night before.
There's optimism at every rink up and down the UK at this time of year, but none more so at the moment than in the Big Blue Tent. And of course, boosted by Saturday's win in Sheffield, they went ahead on the Sunday night. Matt Fogner scoring at 12:08. Now, Sheffield came from behind on Saturday to lead. Of course, they went on to lose the game, but here they came from behind too. Still in the first period, we're coming to a close, and at 19:50, Phillips from the left side credited with that one, and we're tied at 1-1 at the end of one. So to the second period, and it's power play time for the Steelers. They're moving it around pretty nicely in that small ring. There's plenty of rebounds, and the final touch there to one of the new boys, Corey Pecker. He's on target at 21:59. So to the third period, the Steelers have that slender one-goal advantage, and there's all sorts going on in front of the net. Look, Tyler Michelle in his old rink, such a hero for the Cardiff Devils. Again, it's not particularly pretty, but the final touch there goes in by Phillips. Cardiff aren't happy, but it's suddenly a 3-1 game at 42-18. Now, Cardiff needed a hero, and who's going to step forward? There's plenty of candidates this season for them in the Big Blue Tent. First of all, Gerard Adams, doing what he does well, gritty in the corner. Josh Batch, the youngster, shot on net. Who's going to get that final touch? And it is Matt Fogner. So it's a one-goal game at 46-36. Into the final stages of this game. We're into the final 10 minutes. And can Cardiff get a leveller? Fogner has some room. He is there to level. It's a hat-trick goal. It's 3-3. We went to a shootout and to sudden death. And Corey Pecker for the Steelers got the penalty shot to win the game. Final score, Cardiff 3, Sheffield 4.
Well, the Sheffield Steelers got that victory, that last-minute goal by Corey Pecker, that penalty shot, and a big save from Di Caro off Mireland. But a huge win for Finnerty. He'll be delighted. But I would imagine Gerard Adams would have certainly taken 3 points out of 4, wouldn't he, after that first weekend?
Yeah, it's you know, the Sheffield Steelers will be happy that they got the split. They got 2 points, you know. But Gerald, he'll be happy. He got 3 out of 4. You know, it doesn't matter if you get 3 out of 4 every weekend. You're doing well. And you know, for his team, for the first you know, weekend, you know, against Sheffield, to come out with 3 points, he'll be very happy. I
spoke to Belfast Giants coach Doug Christensen a couple of times during the summer. He was absolutely livid that he'd lost out on the signing of a guy called Faulkner, and he said he's gone to Cardiff. Faulkner showed what a great player that Christensen and Belfast lost out on, and what a signing he has been for the Cardiff Devils. A 4-goal weekend plus a penalty shootout shot goal as well. I mean, what a signing.
Yeah, he knows how to put the puck in the net, and the more guys you can get in your team that can put the puck in the net, the easier it is for you. And now we know why Dougie wanted him so bad. You know what a great hockey player for him. Dougie maybe should offer him some more money, and then he would have went to Cardiff.
Well, folks, we've seen all the goals, all the highlights. Let's just have a recap of all the scores from last weekend. We'll start off on the Saturday. That's the 8th of September. The Dundee Stars going down 3-2 to the Coventry Blaze. Cardiff with a 4-2 road victory over the Sheffield Steelers. That was in the Elite League. Challenge Cup Group A, the Brayhead Clan beating the Belfast Giants 3-2, and the Flyers 2-0 over the Edinburgh Capitals. In Group B of the Challenge Cup, the Nottingham Panthers beating the Hull Stingrays by 4-2. Both teams, though, still got players to come in. We'll move ahead to Sunday. Cardiff going down 4-3 after a shootout to the Sheffield Steelers. Coventry with that last gasp effort from Brad Leib beating the Flyers 4-3. Nottingham with a brace from David Ling, 5-1 over Dundee. And then that Edinburgh Capitals victory, 4-3 over the Brayhead Clan. Big fixtures already. It's only the second weekend of the year. We've talked about your game. I know Coventry are in Sheffield twice. There's another Scottish derby with Fife and Edinburgh coming. And I think this is how it's going to be more and more all the way through the season, isn't it? Again, reverting back, this conference system is doing its job already.
Yeah, and what it does is it creates a lot of double headers, back-to-backs against teams, and you know it's tough playing a team back-to-back, and especially if you win, you get huge advantage. If you play a team back-to-back and lose both games, it really makes it tough on you.
It does indeed. Okay, then let's have a recap of those fixtures. We want you to go to an Elite Ice Hockey League rink near you as quickly as possible. We want you there on Saturday and Sunday. Here are the fixtures for this coming weekend. A busy weekend that sees the Nottingham Panthers against the Belfast Giants at the NIC. Sheffield taking on the Coventry Blaze, both of those games facing up at 7 p.m. In the Challenge Cup up at Kirkcaldy, it'll be loud and rumbusterous up there. Get your stuffies in early. It's the Flyers versus the Braehead Clan. And another Scottish derby, Dundee Stars taking on the Edinburgh Capitals. That one starts at 7 p.m. On Sunday, Cardiff at home to the Clan, the Blaze at home to the Steelers, Dundee again at home, this time to the Hull Stingrays. And that second game we talked about earlier between the Panthers and the Belfast Giants. A 4 o'clock start there, remember, in Nottingham. Edinburgh take on the Five Flyers in their Challenge Cup group. And then on Thursday, an opening game at the Odyssey Arena, a 7:30 start between Doug Christensen's Belfast Giants against the Dundee Stars. Now, you will be able to see highlights of all those games next weekend here on Sky Sports. Our show will come to you on Friday at 11 p.m, but don't worry, if you want to go to bed early, replayed again 10 a.m. on Saturday morning. Rick, good to have you back. It's a great season, I can't wait. It promises to be just probably the best of the 10 Elite League years, doesn't it?
Yeah, it promises to have a lot of excitement, some ups and downs. Who's going to win the conferences? Who's going to win the league? No one knows. In 30 weeks, we'll know. OK, we will indeed. I know who's going to win the conferences. Do you want me to tell you? Braehead are going to win the one up north. The Sheffield Steelers, I know you thought I'd say that, will win the one down south. But I've got a feeling that the Braehead Clan might just win the Elite League this year. Will I be right? Will I be wrong? We'll know in 30 weeks' time. We'll see you this time next week. I'll have a new guest. It'll be the Coventry coach, Paul Thompson. We'll see you then. Good night.